Welcome to the Lift Your Story podcast with guest Girish Shukla, author. Hi, everyone. I am LaurieAnn. I am that gal from Toronto, Canada, and I am with...
I am that guy. I am Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas. Welcome to our Lift Your Story podcast.
In this episode, we're pleased to have Girish Shukla, and he is an author. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Laurie and Roy. Wonderful to be here.
It's our pleasure. So you started out as a computer engineer. You left that field to become a social media and digital marketing agency, and you wrote a book. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey, how you started out as a computer engineer and ended up getting out of that field and going into social media and digital marketing and writing a book?
Yeah. So I I started my engineering in 2007. I did the first semester, and thereafter I felt terribly sick and I could not attend college for 2 years. And that gave me a lot of time to introspect, reflect on myself, reflect on what I really want to do. And after 2 years, when I was well enough to go back to college, I joined the college again, did my engineering. And while I was doing my engineering, I had this idea for a book, and I had narrated that to a friend of mine, and he said, but yeah, you should write this book. And in 2013, I started writing this book. I think it was the month of May when I started my first job as a software engineer. And while I was working there, I think I realized within the first 6 months that I can't do this. I need to be, I need to get out of here as soon as possible. And it took me about 1.5 years to build that courage up to actually look for opportunities where I could write most of the time. And that was the idea. I started a blog, and I started applying to all the writing opportunities that I could find on the internet. And I got this position in a digital marketing agency as a copywriter. Social media strategy and social media management is something that I learned on the job. I had no idea as to what that was when I actually joined that agency. I got to work with a few clients, and that is how I learned digital marketing. And while I was there, I was also working on the book, and in tandem, I realized this marketing will actually help me market my book when the time comes. So I continued with it, and I also finished my book, and it got published last year in the month of October.
Wow, it's funny because I had my son's an electrical engineer, and he got out of college and got a job, and he comes and he goes, I don't know if I want to be an engineer. It's kind of late for that, isn't it? But he's still doing it. But it's just that funny that you said, I got there and I thought, this is not for me.
In India, a lot there's this funny thing that most people realize what they want to do after they've finished engineering.
Yeah,
So everyone is doing engineering here in India.
That's true, because my friend Sumit, he also went through engineering and he switched out of it as well. So,
Yeah.
And then my son did the same thing too. He went for engineering, mining engineering, I believe it was. He did 3 years, decided he didn't want to do that anymore, and moved out into finance. So it's like, but it's good to find out early if you're going to do that and move into what you're passionate about, which is what you did, which is great.
So you were doing some freelance writing, right? Like publications, trying to just get out there and do what you love, writing.
Yeah.
And then you kind of evolve from there.
Yeah, precisely. The idea was fairly simple. If I write more, I knew that I would be able to write better. That was the idea, because as they say, practice makes you, I'm not sure if the practice makes you perfect, but practice does make you better. So that was the idea, and I started that blog only for the reason that I wanted to explore the topic that I really wanted to write about, and got this job at that agency. It was a an incredible experience. I worked there for about 1.5 years, and I got to work with some really good clients, and they allowed me to actually express myself. They gave me the creative freedom, and in addition to that, the technicality of social media, what kind of ads to run, how does strategy work, how does content calendars work, what kind of designs will give you engagement. That is something that came as a bonus. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
so,
that's an ever changing thing too with the social media and I can't even keep up with it anymore. I keep taking courses and the next week it's already defunct and I have to take some more. That whole SEO thing. But that's good that you got that experience there. That definitely is a bonus.
yeah, and you said you did some copywriting as well,
Yeah.
right? Because I've heard that's kind of a hard field to break into, being a copywriter. Well, let me back up. To be a successful copywriter.
So I did write a few radio jingles for a client, and it was in Hindi, so it was doubly difficult for me because I used to write primarily in English. Then I wrote a couple of video scripts for a client. Again, that was in Hindi because the client was trying to reach out to masses here in India, and they wanted everything to be in Hindi. So did that. Also wrote a few newspaper ads for a few clients. So I think the experience, like I said, was very extremely diverse when I was in that agency, and the fact that I got to work with good clients who gave you freedom, clients who had money to pay, clients who allowed you to do your thing without questioning everything. So I guess that allowed me to also get into copywriting and excel at it.
Yeah.
That helps when you have clients like that. I was just going to say, because I know I did copywriting and it was very difficult because the clients were very, very picky. And you just kept going back to the drawing board and starting over and editing. And it's a little discouraging when you don't have that freedom of expression and being able to do something. Obviously you want to do what your client wants, but also be able to put yourself into it. So very lucky that way.
True.
Yeah. So you wrote a book. Tell us a little bit about your book. How did you, number one, what's the title of your book? So everybody will know. And then how did you come to write that particular story?
So I started writing this book in May 2013 and finished it in August 2017. So it took me more than 4 years to finish the final draft of the book. And obviously there were breaks in between because I was working in an agency, and sometimes agency life is extremely difficult because there are timelines that you have to meet. And the idea, I guess, came when I was extremely unwell. The time period that I talked about initially, 2008 and 2009, and my whole life revolved around being in the hospital and getting some treatment and getting back home. That was my life for 2 years, and I would meet a lot of patients who were, who were facing something similar with their life. There was so much, there was so much uncertainty in their minds about what if they'll get to see tomorrow, because they were terminally, these were terminally ill patients, and I guess myself and my family started interacting with those patients and their families because we were going to the hospital so often, and I think that experience, I think, had something to do with the current story that I wrote about, the book that is Maroon in a Sky of Blue. It is about PTSD. Even though the plot and the storyline is completely different, I think the underlying theme comes from those conversations that I had with people in the hospital. And it's about this guy who loses his girlfriend in a car crash and how he deals with that loss. On the surface, it seems that he's getting better, but eventually you find out that he was in fact getting worse by the day. And some people can't cope with the loss of a loved one. So I think my time that I spent in the hospital has a lot to do with this story.
Yeah. I mean, PTSD is a huge issue all around the world, and a lot of people don't even realize they have it.
True.
And it's not just the military.
True. It's not just like, I think everyone at some point, and most people at some point in their life do go through that experience, even if it is for a short amount of time. When they lose someone they're really close, I think they tend to experience those uh undefined emotion, like the emotion that are difficult to define. And I think that is something which is PTSD, when you're not able to describe to others as to how you're feeling.
Yeah.
It's true. And they have expanded it, because we used to always think correctional officers, police officers, military, but now they found out that it is even further expanded on to other issues that go on. And please do tell our listeners the name of your book.
It's called Maroon in a Sky of Blue.
Yeah, Maroon in a Sky Blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you come up with that title?
So the main character, like I said, he seems that he's getting better. So his mind, I've tried to donate with a sky of blue, where the mind is serene, where the mind is calm, and that maroon color is describes passion. In this case, it describes passion plus when the blood dries up, it becomes maroonish red in color. And the girlfriend that he had died in a car crash, so that those blood spots are maroonish in color. So that is how the title is, Maroon in a Sky of Blue.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Good tie-in.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have any other books that are coming out as well that you're working on at this time?
I finished the second book. I guess the lockdown with the COVID allowed me to finish the second book quite quicker, because there was we had a lockdown here in India last year as well. That is when I was able to finish the first draft. When the second lockdown came this year, I was able to edit it and polish it off and send it to literary agents. So I've been able to finish the final draft of the book. It's called The Vine is Dead. It is a psychological thriller, and it deals with this woman who can go to any lengths to achieve happiness for herself. So it's slightly darker than what my first book is, and hopefully hopefully it'll be out soon.
That's excellent. Going to any length to find happiness.
Yeah.
That can cause the opposite if you go that far to try and find it, isn't it? Like you become unhappy trying to try and find it if you try too hard.
True.
Yeah. Well, what is happiness? It's one thing for me and different for you guys, probably, right? So you'll feel I want to be happy. Okay, well, what is that to you?
Yeah.
Nice house, nice cars, travel, peace of mind, whatever, right? It's a relative term.
True.
Not having to move again. I'm in the midst right now, just to let you know, is I'm moving for the 26th time in my life, and I'm so tired of it. It's like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, she's only 30 years old. She's already moved 26 times.
Where are you moving to now?
I am moving. It's not too far, but I'm moving in Canada, just to let you know. And I think it's happening quite different places because of the COVID and the rental prices going up. I've been here for 8 years, so my landlady decides she's going to move in, so I have to move out, and that's the only way they can get you out at this time. And so I decided to go back and stay with my parents, which is not too far from here anyway, but and help them out because my mother says she could use the help at this point. She's 86. She still has a lot of energy, but she says, I could use the help because my dad needs some assistance at this time. So
it's interesting you mentioned, COVID and how it helped you finish your book. We have talked to so many people that, were thinking about writing a book or had started a book or, and they said that for them, the best thing that happened to them was COVID because they were able to sit and focus and write their book. Several people have told us that.
So I
and or
guess
moving. Sorry?
I was saying writing is a lonely job, and with the lockdown and you're not allowed to meet people, I think that gives you that creative space and freedom wherein you can sit down at one spot and write your heart out for an extended period of time. I think that is how it helped me because all my clients were shut. Like I mainly handle restaurant clients here based out of Delhi. I handle their social media and they were all forced to shut down because of the lockdown, and that gave me ample time to actually write.
That's good. And there's a lot of people too who have actually converted from started businesses through COVID too, which is interesting. So, and they say it's the one thing I've always wanted to do, and COVID gave me an opportunity. So, as much as it was a really nasty thing, there were some couple of positives that came out of it for some people. Yeah.
True.
So since it took you, you said like 4 years to write your first book, and it took you less time to write the second book. Of course, I guess it's like the more you do, the easier it gets, but all that being said, what advice do you have for someone that's either thinking about writing a book or has maybe started a book, and haven't put it on the shelf? What's your advice to those people to get it done?
So I'll speak about what has worked for me. So I believe reading has helped me leaps and bounds when it comes to writing. I think whenever I'm stuck, whenever I'm in a creative block, when I read a good book, it tends to open up my neurons, and these neurons then start firing in my brain, and then I get the idea as to how I can progress with my plot. In addition, if I watch a really good movie, an intelligent movie, that also tends to help me. And apart from that, I think it's a commitment. Like it won't be easy. Like writing a book is a lonely job. You won't have a lot of support. But if you can find a friend or maybe a couple of friends who read every time you write something and share their feedback, that I think keeps you going, because then you have someone who's looking forward to reading a first draft. So that is also something that has really helped me. And I guess it's also about making small goals. Like if you don't have to finish an entire chapter in a day, or don't have to finish the entire book in a month's time. If you write consistently, say 1,000 words every day, or 1,500 words every day, you will be able to finish the book in, depending on the length of the book, you should be able to finish your book in 3 to 4 months time. I tend to write every day when I'm writing. I don't take breaks on Sunday because I think that breaks my momentum. So I tend to write every day when I'm writing a book. And once the first draft is done, then I sit back, I revel in my success for a week, and then I can come back and see what needs editing. And the other advice that I have for people is, I think you need to give your heart and soul to the book. Like you have to be very sure of what you're writing, and you need to be connected with what you're writing. If you start writing something that is working well, and you're not connected with that, you will not be able to do justice to that, I feel. And the third advice that I have is, once the book is done, once you have a publisher, or if you're going ahead and self-publishing it, then even like in both these scenarios, marketing is really, really important, because every year a lot of books are coming out, and becomes terribly difficult for the end audience to know about your book. So if you do some marketing for the book, like do as much effort as you spent writing the book. And once you do that, I'm sure you will be able to grab a lot of eyeballs for your book.
Okay.
Perfect.
It sounds like. So how can our listeners reach out to you?
I am on every social media platform that there is. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I have a website as well, and it's called girishshukla.com. You will find all those links in there. There is this email address as well, which is called connect@girishshukla.com. So they can reach out to me on email as well, and would be happy to connect with people.
Perfect.
Where can they get your book?
It's on Amazon. It's available on Amazon. It's there it's there as a Kindle version, and it's there as a paperback version as well.
Okay.
Perfect. Excellent. We will have those links in the notes for anybody who is interested in connecting with Girish.
Yeah.
So thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for being here with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It was lovely chatting with you.
Okay.
Likewise.
It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit us at lifterstory.com.